Hello, Orange Cat here. We're gonna play Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. This gonna be part 5 in the case by case series where I try to solve, if it's a long one, only one case per video. The last time we just finished the second chapter, Gilded Gates, did some necessary smaller side cases because otherwise we will get them anyway because we have to travel a lot to that. So today we're gonna go visit Stonewood Manor, Holmes family house. We're gonna explore Violet's room and then we're gonna do the third chapter of Muse from abroad. But that is what I intend to do. Yeah. Then I will show you all the endings if possible. So like the different outcomes to cases. So yeah. Okay. Let's explore Sherlock's Mother, Violet's room. So yeah, we haven't towards the end. We're gonna check or buy back all the furniture from the house. So Violet's room is this.
Another one. There must be something important behind it. I can feel it.
Oh. I forgot to interact with the items behind. I thought we did it. No, then we go back. We have to go back to the manor. Then we're gonna check out the items left by Mrs. Gilden, Theodore Gilden. So it's a necklace.
My mother always wore this around her neck until one day it disappeared. I was wondering where it went. She said it was a birthday present from a good friend.
And a letter from Violet to Theodore Gilden. My dear Theodore, you know I value our friendship more than most other bonds. We share the same restless soul, and your acceptance and support at trying times has been a blessing. I'm endlessly grateful for the turn of fate that saw Seeger and I join the same expedition as you. It changed my life for the better. Nevertheless, I'm not blind nor a hypocrite. I know that your feelings towards me have deepened. Forgive me, Theodore, but I do not feel as you do. I must spare you the pain of one-sided love before it's too late. Please see enclosed the necklace you so thoughtfully gifted in remembrance of our adventure together. I cannot, in good conscience, continue to wear it. I know this letter will cause you such hurt, and for that I can but apologize deeply. Yet my heart is with Seeker, who is still unaware of your desires. If this sees the end of our friendship, I will understand, but I truly hope we can continue to share the conversations, collaborations, and kindnesses that have brought me such joy all these years. Yours respectfully, Violet.
I just had another glimpse of a memory, John. It's fuzzy, but I'm sure it happened somewhere in the manor.
Finally moving forward. Shall we go?
So now we can to the manor and open pilot's room. That was also why.
You know, I envy you, Sherry. You can talk to other people and they won't ignore you.
And I envy you. You can ignore any person you're bored with. You don't miss out on much. Most men are dull, unlike yourself.
Well, I'm flattered.
Let's remember the ball. Wait, the date trigger. Okay.
I had a surprise for my mother. You had a shovel with you, John. I was holding an ancient Greek vase, or rather, quite a big piece of it. I remember now, we dug up the vase from Greek ruins here on Cordona and were eager to show my mother right away. For some reason, the door was closed. We knocked.
But nobody answered. We thought that she was busy.
So we left the vase and ran downstairs. I decided to gather some archaeological tools in order to take a closer look at the vase.
But then we heard something, didn't we?
Yes. It came from upstairs.
The vase was broken, shards scattered all over the floor. And your mother was standing at the door.
Indeed, John. I doubt it was her. Let me concentrate. Otto Richter was standing there, furious at us. Dr. Richter told us never to disturb my mother when the door is closed. He said she had broken the vase.
But we didn't believe him. I bet he smashed it.
So let's explore.
Her things are still here.
Presumably Mycroft never felt the need to sort through it all.
Or couldn't bring himself to.
No. He would have put it behind him and moved on. My brother is not one for sentimentality.
Okay, let's look around.
My mother loved flowers. They made her smile. I remember we would bring a new bouquet every week to make her a bit happier.
That's why we collected all the violet flowers we could find on the island. You're not obliged to be here, Sherry. We can leave any time you want.
Looks like it was damaged by a blunt object.
Look what I found. The White King is under attack. Sherry, can you save him and checkmate the opponent in one move? You're not obliged to be here, Sherry. We can leave any time you want. Oh, nice move. You saved the king and checkmated the Black King with the rook.
Yeah, I used the bishop. Let's table. The newspaper. Sherlock Holmes obituary in the Times, London, August 21, 1865. Mr. Sherlock Morland Holmes, the renowned archaeologist, authenticator, and historian, is dead. A mere 41 years of age, he was seized by a cardiac event during the opera at the Covent Garden Theatre on Saturday. Despite a physician's best efforts, he remained insensible and died at 20 minutes past 6 o'clock last evening. His sudden end came as a severe shock to his large circle of acquaintances. Mr. Holmes is survived by wife Violet, two sons Michael 16 and Sherlock 6. Funeral services will be held Wednesday at the Highgate Cemetery of St. James by Rev. W.E. Stanley.
It's a strange feeling to read about my father's death in the newspaper. I can't recall anything except the deep feeling of loss.
You were too young. It happened before we even met. It's so sad.
An old sheet of paper, March 25, 1869, examination notes of Dr. Otto Richter. Over the last few months I have asked Mrs. Holmes to sketch some landscapes. The first few were clear and accurate, but subsequent drawings quickly drifted away from reality. It appears her disease progresses rapidly and perhaps even affects her vision. I may need to consider trepanation.
I'm sorry.
Suitcase.
Do you think the doctor could have used these tools here? I hope not.
No labels. I doubt it ever had one. There appear to be residues of the bottle's contents at the bottom.
Observation Journal. Observation of Mrs. Violet Holmes, Dr. Otto Richter. 18 May of 1868. Initial consultation revealed the patient suffers sleep problems, periods of anxiety, slight confusion of memories. Prescribed a strong sedative to be administered daily and will continue to monitor symptoms. 3rd of August 1868, the sedation has helped minimize anxiety attacks, but Mrs. Holmes now experiences catatonia, apathy, and prolonged depressive states. Moreover, the patient's confusion has worsened and she has begun writing letters to her deceased husband as if he were alive. I have prescribed 6 further drugs to balance her mental state and weekly hydrotherapy. 27th of November 1868. The current drug regimen has delivered middling results, with confusion worsening into near constant delusion. Patient grows aggravated when these beliefs are contradicted, prompting aggressive behavior. I have now witnessed several episodes of violence against her own family and towards herself. Consequently, I ordered that bars be installed on the windows and that Mrs. Holmes be strapped to her bed at night. The dosage of all medication has been raised. I have prescribed the patient additional hypnotherapy sessions as well as some mild hallucinogens. That sounds more Maybe she went in a depressive state because her husband died. And maybe she got the, I don't know, the early stages of Alzheimer's.
This picture was drawn by my mother. I recognize her hand. There's a date on it, 8th of December, 1868.
And another drawing.
This seems a bit odd. I can recognize my mother's style, but it's far too sloppy. Dated 12th of February, 1869.
And another drawing.
It's difficult to tell what this is meant to represent. There's no date at all. Straps on the bed. Just doesn't look right. Seems this was the most frequently used medication. One dram dissolved in a glass of water, administered daily. Not to exceed 1 dose in 24 hours, not to be given to children.
February 1869, from Violet to Sigurd. My gentle Sigurd, alas, I am still yet to receive any correspondence from you. One presumes my previous letters are chasing you around the continent as you travel. I hope you are in good health and already on your way home. Forgive me my impatience, but life without your kind voice and bright eyes is scarcely worth living. The boys need their father around too. I can tell that they miss you, though as you well know, Micro is not one to wear his heart on his sleeve. In case my prior letters have been lost, know that we have relocated to Cordona. Please come back soon. Forever yours, Violet, February 69.
Oh, it brings back some memories.
Oh, I would love to take a bath right now.
Not this one. Surface corrosion suggests it was prone to extreme temperature fluctuations. For medical purposes, I suppose. Bars covering the windows from the inside.
We still haven't looked at the cabinet.
This room always reeked with an acrid medicinal stench. And here is the reason.
Let's see. We can examine the stuff in the bottle. So, like always, this will change. Like the thing you have to solve changes every time, so you cannot really follow a walkthrough for it. You can just either play it or skip it. And the more you'll have here chemical operation. This, for example, changing negative to positive and positive to negative. This is adding two together. You also get one where you separate them and stuff like that. But if you don't feel like solving it, just skip it by L3. So pushing the left joystick. An almost empty bottle analysis identified the substance as halogene and derived from mushrooms.
Mother was troubled that morning. Something we did upset her. Dr. Richter tried to calm her down. The broken plate shards were all over the floor. Mycroft had to change his suit as the one he was wearing was completely stained. We had to put the tray with Mother's morning tea down, but why? It's starting to ring a bell. I think it happened in the morning.
Now we can check what happened that day. So, if he Michael, you had to clean his suit. So Sherlock lying on the ground, his mother having an aggressive episode, and Michael getting hit the foot.
I don't believe you! Liars! Get away from me! It's not true! It's not real!
What? Oh. Everything will be okay, Sherry. I promise.
It was the morning of the 9th of April, the day my mother died.
The morning of April 9th. The 9th of April started off badly. My mother was anxious and hysterical. She threw food and shouted at the doctor, calling him a liar. John and I brought her morning tea, but when the shout started I became scared. The only thing I could think of to do was hide near the bed and wait for everything to pass. Thankfully, John was there to protect me and calm me down.
My mother, she was not just ill, but mad. God have mercy.
I'm sorry. That explains why you locked the memory away.
There must be more, John. That was the morning of her death. I need to know what happened.
Every time you... I just don't... Please, Sherry, leave it be.
Just breathe, John. You know that I cannot leave the last stone unturned. We are so close.
I know. But can we at least leave it for another day?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because I'm gonna continue anyway.
Well, history tells us these memories are triggered by our investigation of other matters. I suspect it could not be forced even if I so desired.
Thank you. How are you feeling about all this? Tell me, I'm not the only one reeling.
In the end, little has changed. My mother was still unwell, just not with tuberculosis. What I do not yet understand is why Mycroft lied about it. There are precious few pieces of this puzzle remaining, John. Let us dawdle here no longer.
Indeed. Wait, did you hear that?
Yes. Metallic soles. What is this sailor doing here?
So there is someone at the door. That basically means that's the start of the third chapter, a Muse from abroad. It will have 3 culprits who did it. He went some direction. Oh.
Sherlock Holmes, isn't it? I was looking for you.
With whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
You can call me your new game. The rules are simple. I have something for you, but you alone must work out what that is.
And that something is my prize, I suppose?
You're a fast learner, sir.
Okay, let's observe him. Shield. The hand. Other hand. And face. Head on the top of the head. So we either have sailor artist or we have an artist disguised as a sailor. Artist disguised as a sailor.
I cannot believe that Mr. Vogel has somehow successfully called my attention to his gallery. You're here with an invitation to visit it, obviously.
My word, you are fast, Mr. Holmes. Could you explain how you came to that conclusion?
Of course. Explanations are my favourite part of any conversation. Hands without any sign of regular physical activity, in contradiction to one who would most usually wear such a uniform. The paint in your hair is pink. I don't know of any military service that paints their ships pink, unless they have launched a new fashionable fleet. A sailor with the soul of an artist? I would suggest rather a gallery employee disguised as a sailor to mislead me. How many artists on the island know where I live and of my passion for deduction? Vern Vogel is clearly at the top of the list. And you've been attempting to conceal something square-shaped within your pocket. An invitation, I suppose. An invitation to Mr. Vogel's gallery.
That was remarkable, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Vogel was right about your genius. I think he may have even underestimated you. This is your invitation. Please tell Mr. Vogel that the seed has been planted. He asked me to tell you to do so, if you win this little game. Farewell.
So we got an invitation, Vogel's art gallery invitation. My dear Sherlock Holmes, as you know, no doubt have already guessed, I would like to invite you to experience my art expedition, not only for the purpose of contemplation of beauty, but in a more general need of your genius. You will find the gallery at Caravanserai at the crossroads of Bazaar Road and Muse Avenue in Old City. Always your friend, V.V. Vern Vogel. Yeah, this story will have six or either two. No. Okay, we just get to it. I think I'm confusing them. So this is the Muse from abroad, and this is only one left. I have to go to Vern Vogel's. That's here. No, that's the hotel. Old City is here. Go as far Caravanserai. You have to go to this street, Bazaar Road, Herms Bazaar Road, and Rickshaw Road. So there's the art gallery. This is DLC outfits. Some of the outfits will unlock after you completed DLC cases, and some will unlock before.
Mr. Sherlock Holmes, I presume.
Correct. With whom do I have the pleasure?
Emilio Esteve, happy to make your acquaintance. I am here on behalf of Mycroft, your brother. He is on his way to Cordona. In the meantime, He requests your assistance with a sensitive matter. My orders are to provide you with the details.
Okay, so this is the starting point from the 3 in-game micro cases. But to get unlock a trophy, you have to choose I'm busy.
I'm afraid I don't have time for this now.
I hope that you will reconsider. If you do, I'll be here.
Yeah, and then if you talk again to him, then you will be able to accept the case, which will be, if I remember correctly, the eel hunting, and that is of 3 cases. And if you, for some reason, miss this, you can just try again. Like load your save file. Yeah, we're gonna first complete the main story, then focus on the getting all the in-game cases, and lastly the DLC. Oh wait, we can fast travel to Old City. It's a bit handier than just walking all the way there. Just follow the roads. Yeah, still the correct direction. And here we are, next to the moors. It's gonna be a big.
Mr. Holmes, you came! Oh, how kind. Though now, of course, I realize it is because of my game, not the works on display.
It needn't be one or the other. Your man's disguise was easily debunked, Mr. Vogel, but I shall admit that you planted in me the seed of curiosity.
Ah, terrific! I had no doubt you'd put the pieces together. Let us call it an opening gambit before the real game begins.
So, this little game of yours, what's it about?
An enigma to solve. A locked area in the basement with no windows found brutally vandalized. I have no clue how it was possible.
What about this intrusion? What happened?
Last night, I was about to leave the gallery when I heard a noise downstairs. I went to the basement, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It was admittedly a rudimentary inspection. It is not uncommon to get rats down there, so seeing nothing of note, I left and locked up the building. When I returned this morning, alas, I discovered that part of the exhibition had been torched, and there was no sign of the intruder. The mystery being, of course, that all the doors to the gallery were locked exactly as I left them.
And the door to the basement is the only entrance?
Correct. Tell me you're not intrigued.
And this locked area downstairs, what exactly was it?
The under gallery. It's always shut, and I'm the only one with the key.
Ah, so this is your private collection, not part of the gallery.
Oh, no. It's an exclusive exhibition of eccentric pieces. Only a select cadre of artists, investors, and collectors are admitted. Not everyone deserves to have their eyes opened.
Well, this matter is certainly within my wheelhouse.
This intrusion troubles me. Please take a look around if you're willing. The under gallery is through the door at the end.
I will see what I see.
Now we can examine downstairs. We can also look at the paintings, but it will not add much difference. He will just describe what you can see. Let's, let's examine. We can walk through, not all of them, but like.
You sure you don't like art, Sherry? You sure you don't like art, Sherry?
So yeah, let's get to the basement. Basically the only other way you can go to. AC swine burn room.
Back home we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him.
A simplistic attempt at provocation.
Back home we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him.
Would be interesting.
Closed with a metal bolt. Footprints. Size 9.5. Old and hasn't been used for a long time. The left step's length is shorter than the right. It indicates that the walker was lame. A true artist never shows an unfinished piece.
Sherry, how about some company in that dreary chamber of yours?
Leave my loneliness unbroken, John. A handprint of the thing from another world. But it looks fresh, and its coal origin ruins the effect of the extra mundane. Sodden and mould-ridden. One presumes deliberately. Saturn devouring his son. Oh, grim composition.
Unflinching in its ferocity, yet somehow beautiful.
The parasites of creativity. Or just a reflection of the artist's recreational interests. Ugh, sheer vandalism. Only an ignorant person could do such a thing.
What was...
A Malpow butt. Coal fingerprints. I think we're looking for a man with a coal moustache.
Let's see what happened. So, Vogel went down the stairs. Someone came from the vent. Someone hits the coffin.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the hatch bolt. He accidentally pushed a shovel to the floor. Vogel heard the noise. At the sound of his approaching footsteps, the intruder hid inside the coffin. When Vogel entered the basement, he failed to notice anything strange and left without properly checking. The intruder waited until Vogel had left the caravanserai before burning the paintings in Wilde's room, but the vandalism was a cover for the theft.
So now we can talk to Vern again with the findings.
The pieces are not what I expected.
What do you think my collection is about?
Doesn't really matter what you say. Let's say decadent, decay, death. Let's choose the middle.
Dozens of priceless works amassed simply for the sake of it and presented without care. It's not about the art, it's about excess, yes?
I don't know.
But that's absurd. Of course you know. It's your gallery.
There is no one answer, no singular truth, but many filtered through the subjective mind. That forgetting, embellishing, lying machine. Besides, what's wrong with a lie if it makes life more interesting?
What's wrong with a lie? It corrupts the ability of others to behave freely and rationally.
Men never act freely and rationally anyway. It matters not what is or isn't in the end. The only important thing is how you feel. And I simply want to feel and consume as much as I can. Don't you?
Feelings are simply one's animal ancestry trying to wrest back control of the brain. I try to avoid the distraction.
You try not to feel, even in a place like this? None of it moves you?
To be frank, I struggle to maintain even a whit of interest in art.
But Mr. Holmes, it is joy incarnate, mankind's greatest achievement.
Mankind's highest achievement above all others is objective and rational thought.
I see then why you dislike art, for it means whatever you want it to.
Or perhaps, Mr. Vogel, I was lying.
Aha.
Mr. Vogel, my investigation has revealed that the intrusion was not merely vandalism but theft. The limping visitor left your place with a canvas.
That's very impressive.
This thief was familiar with the gallery and he was sporting a limp. Do any of your clients or artists come to mind?
My, your attention to detail is remarkable, Mr. Holmes. I should introduce you to Bosch's works. Alas, I'm afraid I cannot suggest a culprit.
The fire was a clever attempt to hide a stolen painting, even if it didn't fool me. I found the remnants of an empty frame in the pile of ashes. The canvas had been removed. Do you know which paintings in the Wild Room may have interested a thief? Were any particularly expensive?
Those pieces belong to a well-known artist named Boniface Mercurio. They're controversial, but not of a notably high value.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the latch and dislodged the shovel while doing so. That's the noise you heard yesterday. When you went downstairs to investigate, he hid in the coffin.
It seems I should have checked the space more thoroughly.
There's something more, is there not? I can see it in your eyes.
Indeed. There is another intriguing angle. I recently received an anonymous offer for one of Mercurio's works. The sum was more than fair, and indeed could have saved Mercurio from his artistic poverty. But he declined it.
Was it a performative whim? Some artists lionize pain and hardship as if their work would be worse after a meal and a hot bath.
I cannot tell. But not only did he refuse the deal, he insisted on displaying the painting in the public space. I was hoping to change his mind, but artists are a special breed of stubborn.
So where can I find Boniface Mercurio?
I know he lives somewhere in Old City, but couldn't be more specific. He's a prominent figure, so finding him shouldn't be a problem.
What was depicted in the piece?
A bound woman, wrapped in robes, being penetrated by a red devil that stared at us, the viewer. The beast had numerous tails growing from his back, and a large crowd gathered around the pair, silently watching the orgiastic scene.
Okay, well, given the nature of the other works on display, it's hard to see why that one stood out. What could possibly be its value?
The evaluation of art is very subjective, Mr. Holmes. After all, art is everything. A poem, a bruise, the beads of sweat on your beloved skin, even a masterfully solved crime.
I'm not sure I see the connection.
Regardless, the painting was one of a series called The Sabbath Night in Cordona. The works depict sex, violence, and other controversial acts that life, for better or worse, contains.
Ah, I see.
I'm not sure that you do, but that can wait for another time.
Well, I believe I have enough to begin. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. Your gallery certainly has unexpected depths.
I'm delighted to have been able to please a friend. In return, I expect you to come back with good news, or at least with a good story.
So you have to find his address on Mercurio. So let's go to the archive in Cordona Chronicle, because he's a famous person, so let's see if we can get an article.
Mr. Holmes, I have something for you.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk to her, but from her you also can also get cases. So we're just gonna ignore her. So we need to find a famous person and lives in city. So we did recent because the guy is still alive. And he lives in Old City. Okay, the brawl at Arthur's sellout. The past week has brought us a new scandal regarding the local so-called artistic higher society. It all began at the painting sale I'd named by local artist The Dance of Decadence. The director of a publishing house, The Lion, Darren Derrick, broke the idyll by throwing a chair at a decadent artist. Boniface Mercurio, as Mr. Derrick said later, he did it because Mr. Mercurio brought dishonor to his name. The column writer graciously reminds the reader that recently Mr. Mercurio was spotted with Mrs. Derrick at a coffee shop. Afterwards, an orchestra conductor Kurt Gallagher smashed a painting across Mr. Derrick's head to protect his friend Mercurio. A large brawl started, including a large number of customers. After a protracted fight, the police arrived. All the high society brawlers were arrested and placed under guard for a week. What a breathtaking evening it was. As your loyal personal advisor, I suggest you obtain a souvenir from the sellout. Unfortunately, it has since ended, but Boniface Mercurio himself invites our readers to visit his home and purchase one of his paintings. You'll find them at the address Holmes Avenue between Scarlet Street and Olive City in Old City. So now find his house. Old City. Here's Earth Avenue. Let's. Yeah, we can do both. Let's go there from the old city market. Past travel points. Let's see. Let's see. The walk. No. Oh yeah. Did find it. This house.
Excuse me, young man. Where do you think you're going?
Greetings, ma'am. I'm looking for the...
I don't care who you're looking for. You shall not pass. No visitors allowed.
I wish to buy a painting from Mr. Boniface Mercurio. Is he at...
Dearie, tell me, because old age has made me blind. Did someone write Information Bureau on my forehead? Because I'm not here to answer your questions. Entry is for residents only. If you aren't a resident, please leave, or I shall report you to the police.
Okay, so now we have to get in disguise. So we can run back to the old city market and let's change our outfits.
Come! Decorate your house in Oriental style.
Let's pick.
Okay, so we need to look like the guy. There's this. So only the things with the yellow circle arrows you can borrow.
Be careful with what you've taken.
Wait, did I choose the right one? I look like the picture. We can go back to the house.
Boniface, sweetie. Is that you? Ah, old age does terrible things to one's sight. I didn't recognize you at first.
How are you, ma'am? I'm ashamed to admit that I've lost my key. Do you have a spare?
For heaven's sake! How many times will you lose that key of yours? Of course I have a spare. You artists all live in your own little world.
Please, accept my thanks.
I would rather accept your rent. You promised to pay me several weeks ago, and I'm still waiting.
I will pay you, I promise, very soon.
You'd better do, my dear. Or else I'll just change the lock. And I won't fall for those cow eyes.
Even though she cannot even see, like, in her sight. There he lays.
Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of Werder's description of the stolen painting. The chest has been searched. Aunt May whiskey, brandy bucks. Quite a collection he had here. Judging by post-mortem rigidity, the body lay here for 1 or 2 days. The wound is precise. It was inflicted by a razor or a knife. Soaked in blood. It seems as if the puddle of blood was here before the rags. A normal kitchen knife. Could be the murder weapon. The blood has dried.
I've heard of this style of painting. It is called expressionism. Don't look at me like that, Sherry. I will not touch that dirty floor.
It appears the wine was truly awful. I wonder where he got that fancy camera. Despite the overall tendency towards mess, you cannot sit with the drawer pulled out like this. Someone left it after searching.
Okay, let's check the other room.
The photograph was not pulled out in time. Such a waste of material. The photograph was not pulled out in time. Such a waste of material. Look at this, John. Isn't it our stolen demon?
Again, recreate what happened. Okay, let's see. Shiny heads, definitely bites. Okay.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Let's see. Got a scuffle.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Did we forget something? Huh.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Let's see.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
Okay. So, fighting.
Mercurio was developing photographs when the intruder snuck in. Mercurio heard him coming. While the thief was searching the chest, the painter ran towards him with a bottle in his hand. He smashed it across the thief's head. The intruder had no choice but to defend himself, and the weapon of opportunity happened to be a kitchen knife. Mercurio stepped aside to grab the painting, but the wine-blinded thief attacked Mercurio's throat. When the thief came to his senses, he saw Mercurio bleeding on the floor. He grabbed the rags and tried to bandage him, but it was too late. Why did Mercurio attempt to snatch the painting in the middle of a fight? To strike the intruder? Not with his painting, it was too important to him. It's time for some chemical magic, John.
To save the painting. So yeah, like always, this will change every time. So you can choose it yourself. Wait, what I'm doing. The painting from Mercurio's room. I've managed to erase the blood by using chemicals. It's a still life painting of Mercurio's room. Okay.
That doesn't look like the painting we need, Sherry.
As expected, but that doesn't mean it won't tell us anything. Let's put it on the easel where it belongs. I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? Monster was actually a man. Poor girl. John, you ought to be thrilled. We are now hunting the devil himself.
What were you saying, Sherry? I was too busy sketching the scene, you know, crimes and such like, daily routine. Did you find something?
A photograph. It depicts a man in a red suit with tails sprouting from his back and multiple people in masks watching the scene. It all adds up. But the act of love, it wasn't given willingly, John. It was a violation. And the girl, she was with child.
Give that to me now. Did you recognize someone?
No. Although the victim is not from Cordona, she is African. Look at the ritual scars on her face.
Get that image out of your brain. You have to continue the investigation.
I must speak to the landlady. Perhaps she saw or heard something.
Sherry, you cannot tell her the truth about Mercurio. It will hurt her.
John, that's illogical. Sooner or later, she will come here and discover a corpse, and I still need to talk to her.
Just avoid mentioning corpse, all right? Stick to the character, tell her to call the police.
I'll take that into account.
And wait here. I've redrawn the people in the photograph. Now you can proceed with your investigation without those horrific details.
go outside. So when you talk to the woman, if you hide the truth, you will get the trophy. A perfect gentleman. So it is your first playthrough. Now you can get that.
What's
trophy.
wrong, dear? You look like you've seen a ghost.
If you hide the truth.
Can you tell me if anyone else has recently entered the flat?
Oh, you're talking about that limping man. I'm sorry I let him in. I was scared. And I thought maybe he would motivate you to find money so that you would pay your rent. No offense, dear.
Can you describe him?
Oh, so you weren't at home. I was so certain you didn't leave your flat that day. He was of average height, had a limp and a tattoo on his neck, and he was smoking Malpal cigarettes. My husband used to smoke those. They have a horrible smell I can recognize from a mile away.
Can I ask a favor?
Of course, dearie.
Please call the police and ask them to enter the flat. And don't look inside until they come up.
What? What trouble have you stepped in this time?
It really doesn't matter. Thank you, Mum.
So that was John's challenge. And if you did that, you will receive trophy if it's your first playthrough.
Whew, Sherry, that was close. But you did everything correctly. Now, take off your outfit. I can't let you walk around in a dead man's clothes.
So now we have to find the girl in the picture. Let's put on the worker's apron, which you can either buy or rent. But yeah, you can use it quite often, so I should just wear it. So you have to look for the girl. You have to look for people in similar clothing. It's getting dark. So that can also difficult to search.
May I ask you something?
No, I don't know about that.
Let's see. See if we can find anyone. Or maybe her.
Could you help me?
Of course. The streets have the information you seek.
Okay, so if you didn't manage to find someone, just keep asking people that look the same. That's the person in the picture. Otherwise, it's quite difficult. John's redrawing of the pregnant girl. The scars on the girl's face seem to be from Ewe's ethnic group tribe. The only place where you can find Ewe people in Cordona is the refugee camp located on Victoria Bridge between Scaladio and Silverton. So that's where we're heading. A change, another outfit. Have to go to the refugee bridge near Victoria Bridge. No, oh here. Oh, it was near that point. Then you have to turn towards the bridge. Wait, no. That way, yeah. So when you cross the bridge from the other no, not this side. Here. So you can walk here downstairs next to the thief and Gamesetting side. So that's the Scaladio side of Victoria Bridge, and you walk to this area down here. Or this side. The map. Okay, so this area is the refugee camp.
Beasts!
Murderers!
So that's here on the camp, so you go down here and then it's this area.
They're completely livid. First they come to our land, then they
Sir, this place is off limits to the public. Please state your business or leave, or I shall request that the police escort you out.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for a witness for a case.
A private investigator? Really? Even so, you're not authorised. I can't let you in.
And you are?
I'm Ronald Harlow, here to handle the refugee situation on behalf of City Hall. I'm the acting supervisor here, so I have full authority here to ask you to leave, or I shall order the police to detain you for trying to pass the blockade. Please, step back.
So now you can observe him. His eyes, his mouth, his clothing, his hand. His shoes. So you either have a tired pen pusher, or a dazed formalist. Character portrait Ronald Harlow.
What about the murder that this crowd keeps shouting about?
It's mere assumption. I assure you that the situation is under the police's control.
I know you want to deal with this in the right way. You are obviously a professional and a responsible person, but you clearly have never handled a situation like this before.
I am handling it, Mr. Holmes. Don't question my capability here.
And tell me how you do it. You can't even calm this gathered crowd, and as for the police, they're not quite managing it either, are they? You consider yourself a problem solver, but until today, you've been solving problems sitting at your desk in a dark corner of a city hall room. Here, you need a more practical approach.
What are you driving at, Mr. Holmes?
I can help you to handle the situation if we're truly interested in solving things quickly and quietly.
And how exactly would you manage that?
Simply tell the police that I'm with City Hall and I'm permitted to investigate the scene. I'll work out the rest, but in return I need your help finding my witness. She's a young refugee. She's with child or was with child recently.
Look, there is indeed a dead body inside the camp. So even if the girl you are looking for is there, all the refugees are now being detained and interrogated by the police. They won't allow you to speak with her, and I can't do anything about that until the situation settles down.
So it's in our mutual interest to settle it.
Oh, I suppose that things are bad enough that I ought not shy away from help. All right, Mr. Holmes, I'll tell the police to allow you to come inside. Just tell me when you're ready.
Mr. Harlow, how did the refugees end up here exactly?
Oh, so you're not from around here yourself?
I've been away for some time, but I read the papers.
Yes, this whole story has been in the papers for almost a year now. They were smuggled to Cordona on a ship from Africa.
Smuggled? Then why didn't you deport them?
The smugglers managed to sneak them to shore and hide them inside an abandoned warehouse. When the police raided the warehouse and found the refugees there, the ship was already gone. We aren't even certain as to which ship it was. We have busy shipping routes with other colonies these days, you see.
So you decided to lock them up under a bridge?
There was no other option. We're still trying to work out what to do with them. I only hope we'll find a humane solution and not put them on a raft and float them out to sea.
Mr. Harlow, what exactly do you do here? What are your responsibilities?
What I do and what I am responsible for are two different realities, Mr. Holmes. On paper, I am in charge of the camp territory, security, provision, and the refugees in general. What I actually do most of the time is knock on every City Hall door trying to obtain some funding, or at least rations for the camp.
The police here on City Hall's behalf too?
They are, minus those who came here after the body was found. The governor won't let the refugees disperse into the island, so there's a significant police presence guarding the camp. Naturally, they answer directly to the police. I have some influence here, but I'm not their direct authority.
I'm ready to take a look at the scene.
All right. Go inside the camp and find Inspector Tweksbury. He's the officer investigating the scene. Tell him I sent you. Say you're an independent expert from City Hall. He'll fill in the details for you.
I'll find my way with words. Thank you, Mr. Harlow.
So they keep these refugees under a bridge like proverbial trolls. No wonder the people outside are so disturbed. We have seen some dark places in Cordona, but this...
You have to talk to him.
Who the hell are you? How did you get in here?
Mr. Ronald Harlow let me in, sir. I'm Sherlock Holmes, a surveyor of refugee affairs with City Hall. You're Inspector Tweksbury, I presume?
A surveyor? What does that even mean?
In short, I've been sent to conduct an extensive report on the incident for the Colonial Office and to assess all the damage inflicted on state property.
Got it. Another paperworm sent to count money and get food for archive mold. Go on, look around, but don't make yourself too at home. As if I didn't have enough problems before you appeared.
Could you first tell me what happened here?
What happened? People from the bridge above the camp heard a woman screaming and saw a mass of refugees attacking a man. Clearly not a refugee. When the camp guards came by, the man was floating in the sewage canal with a knife in his chest. Bam. A murder. Big news for Cordona.
I'm sure. Thank you, Inspector. Did you learn anything about the dead man?
The fellow looks like a thug. I've had dozens like him fished out of the sea over the past 20 years. Ever since these refugees arrived, there have been people on Cordona with bad blood in them. My best bet is that this thug had something against them too.
And no clue as to his identity?
He had some items on his body, but nothing to indicate who he was or where he was from.
I think I should catalogue his possessions in my records.
Go on. They're on the table near the body.
And none of the refugees were harmed?
One fellow was cut. He's lying over there near their kitchen. He's in a bad way.
You mentioned a woman screaming who attracted the bypassers on the bridge. Was she harmed?
No, she's all right, but perhaps the whole debacle started because of her. She started wailing and the refugees stood up for the girl.
And where is this young woman now?
Back there in the shacks, same as the rest of the refugees. She's been questioned by my men, but she's just some refugee girl. Can't understand much English.
Do you have any suspects yet?
You're joking, right? I've got a whole camp full of suspects. And if you ask me, this bloke had it coming. Better bury him and forget about the whole thing. And now there's a crowd gathered at the camp, and my superiors say we must thoroughly interrogate the refugees. At least those who can understand any English.
Do you believe that your superiors wish to get rid of the refugees?
I think that both our superiors would rather keep the story quiet. Since that's an unaffordable luxury now, they're looking how to protect their public image. That's why I have to waste my time waiting for my people to turn every stone and befriend every refugee.
Okay, now we can...
Here we go again. Number of hours on Cordona before stumbling upon another dead body. Zip, what a pleasant man this Mr. Tweksbury is.
Ah, he's also the one from the story. That Mr. Mercurial.
Clearly a left handprint here.
Seen with his wife. To examine.
A furrow in the ground. A blood trail leading to or from the canal.
More blood.
Someone bled profusely here.
The crates.
A fresh crack, as if the crate was hit recently.
Clue 3. Clue 8.
A man's footprint. A heavy boot with a worn-out sole.
Let's see.
Police boots. Always happy to trample evidence.
Table.
Malpal, soaked with salt water. £1,000. A fair sum, especially considering British currency isn't very common in Cordona. A simple leather sheath. Perfect for a dirk.
Let's see. I still have 2 more clues.
Oh, carnelian agate beads, a traditional African adornment.
This twig.
No hint of blood or impact.
A branch. Let's see.
No hint of blood or impact. It might have been used as an improvised weapon. The blood sprayed off the blade after the strike.
And another clue.
Someone was dragged against their will.
Okay, so I think we found all the clues. A wound.
The cut is deep, potentially serious if not treated immediately. He is in shock, feverish and dehydrated.
Sherry, you know first aid. Surely you have a duty to help this man. You can't leave him to certain death.
Okay, so you have to help the refugee. That's also important with the progress of getting another trophy.
Just washed. Better than nothing to bandage the wound.
So the clothing. Yeah, we can get water.
I'll use it to create a solution.
examine the dead body later.
I can use this to stop the infection from spreading. I've collated all the ingredients, now to prepare the first aid solution.
Can go back. So you have to help the refugee, not only because the guy's the right thing to do, but also because it is part of getting another trophy. Wait, how can we? Oh wait, we have to make it. Yeah, I'm gonna skip it. There's gonna be always different, so you cannot really follow walkthroughs for that.
Thank you.
This should make you feel better, my friend. Now remain lying down and drink as much water as you can.
Well done, Sherry. At least he won't die from the infection.
So now we can explore more, because we also have the dead body lying around, which we haven't examined yet.
Coal dust under the nails. I don't see much coal around here. A steel dirk. Sharp. A common accessory among sailors and soldiers. I'd say the blade penetrated upward, however the wound is too messy to be certain. An interesting tattoo. Does it mean something?
Probably. So yeah, let's see. Shoes.
Heavy boots, with one sole far more worn than the other. This man was limping John. A violent death. This man, limping. Coal dust. I think we're onto something here, John. You know what? I'd like to understand.
What?
How did our dead man end up inside the camp in the first place?
Okay, so now we can look further around.
Are these the rations the refugees get from the authorities? How do people even survive out here? Such a mess. Let's figure it out.
Find out about the passage.
Sherry, just look at this. Living quarters in a sewer. What kind of a genius bureaucrat came up with this idea? We have seen some dark places in Cordona.
They find out about the passage.
But this...
Go to hell.
Sealed shut. I doubt our man could get through these grates.
If they...
Find out what the passage is for. Public, no, taking refugees out. Camp lockdown. Morning. What's going on at the refugee camp? Police officers are worried that the situation with the dead body will put the camp into strict lockdown and they will lose the money flow they were earning from the sheep.
Nobody will know anything if you keep your bloody mouth shut.
The coppers smell fishy here, Sherry. Perhaps we should sniff around in the camp a little more thoroughly.
Another challenge. Okay, so we can walk, examine more. So you need to have the glue pinned in the top right, otherwise you will not see certain clues.
It's unlikely anyone could get in or out of the camp by water without alerting the police guards.
I'm also wearing these clothes because he stands out more, John as well.
No, it's too short for these walls or cliffs.
Okay. Let's see. Can look around more. The outside. On the ground. Oh, that was a malpal.
A single malpal butt. Roadman cigarettes. A brand highly regarded by law enforcement officers. So there wasn't any sophisticated infiltration plan. The good old police just let the man into the camp. Now we have everything we need to get the full picture of what happened at the camp.
Okay, so now we can do this. Deduce what happened. Okay, let's see. We started here with the woman being dragged. Then that guy came to her rescue. What's the difference? No. She's tried to escape and he tried to help her. And they started to fight more and she fell. And he gets chased. Or they're fighting. Gets chased. Get pushed. No. Okay, stumbled into the crates.
So, we have a thug who came to take a refugee woman with him. She resisted, but he dragged her by force. One of the refugees stood in his way, armed with a stick, yet he could do nothing against a cutthroat with a blade. The man didn't anticipate that the other refugees would intervene and stand against him. In the confusion, the woman managed to break free. The thug took fright and fled. He was stopped by the falling crates. He stumbled and fell, piercing his chest with his own blade. However, the wound didn't cause instant death. He managed to stand, but still bleeding, he lost his balance on the bridge and fell. Before all of this, the man had freely entered the camp through the main entrance. The police admitted him after they had a short smoke together.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. In our man's case, it's the same sword.
Failed. Captain. Okay, so now we can talk to the captain. Our findings.
You still here?
Inspector, I believe I can aid your investigation. I know who the dead man is and what really happened here.
You do? Well, good for you. But I'm afraid I'm not the one you need to share your findings with. Speak to Mr. Harlow here. He's the one responsible for settling things in the camp.
You don't even care to listen?
Oh, I do care. And maybe even more than I need to. But I'm only here today to lock the place up, question witnesses, and file the facts. It's sad, but coming up with conclusions is not among my tasks here. You fellows at City Hall do that. Anyway, speak to the supervisor. I'll just stand by and listen to what you have to say. I've already told you all I've learned.
The guards at the sewers were speaking about taking refugees out of the camp. Do you know anything about this, Inspector?
Less than you do, obviously.
And this doesn't bother you as an officer of the law?
I can neither punish them nor put them on the right track, if that's what you're asking. Maybe your friends at City Hall could do something about it, but I seriously doubt that. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of being frowned on for my uniform. If those fine gentlemen you've eavesdropped on are in some shady business, that's on their heads. I'm busy. Don't you have papers to fill? City Hall lubberheads.
Mr. Harlow, your refugees didn't murder anyone.
What? Pray tell me what you've learned.
All right, listen carefully. This might solve one problem for you, but will create a few more.
Oh, well, that's a great start.
The man came to the camp intending to kidnap one of your refugees, a woman. What he didn't expect was that the refugees would stand up to protect the woman. A brawl had broken out. In the chaos of it, the man stumbled over those crates and fell on his own blade.
How do you know he fell on his own blade?
The wound in his chest was inflicted from an unusual angle. It was not an offensive stab, shall we say. The refugees didn't touch him. And judging by the blood at the scene, the intruder managed to raise himself but was unable to walk very far. He ultimately fell into the canal.
But how did he sneak into the camp? Why didn't the police see him?
And this is where your new problems emerge, Mr. Harlow.
What do you mean?
You're not a dull-witted man. You know what I mean. There is no feasible way to get into the camp without the police guards knowing of it.
The pile of mess I had to sort out has just become bigger, but somehow that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, I thank you for your help, Mr. Holmes. I'll take it from here. Meanwhile, I'll make sure the police aren't detaining the refugees any longer. You can go back in and look for your witness.
Do you think one small clerk can make any difference in this place?
Who knows, John? Just one ill-fitting cog could make the whole machine crumble.
So now you can talk to the people about the refugee.
Help me, please.
They often take us from the camps to work. Most don't mind, though. It's the only way we get a glimpse of freedom.
What's going on at the refugee camp? According to the refugees, some shady people regularly visit the campsite and take refugees away with them to perform various work. The work is usually hard, but the refugees receive money and food. The girl was abused after she was supposedly taken to such work. Since then, the refugees decided not to allow the women to be taken.
So there's a smuggling ring in the camp. This wasn't the first time that someone freely entered the camp to take a refugee out.
At least it was certainly his last time. My gut tells me that we'll learn more about this ring when we find out where the thug came from.
So now we can look for the woman. Okay, and it helped that you helped the man with his wound, not only for the trophy but also to continue in the campsite.
You're the one who tended to our man's wounds. I thank you greatly. The police didn't allow us to help him.
The police will leave you alone now. I've proven to them that the man who came into the camp died due to his own foolishness.
Thank you for standing up for us. But nobody would help us without a reason. You're here because you want something.
Yes, I do. I need to speak with the girl drawn here.
The dead man came for her too. He wanted to take the girl away, but we won't allow her to be hurt again. What do you want from Naylor?
Naylor. She was hurt some time ago. I'm here to find the people who did this and bring them to justice. And to find them, I need Naylor's help. Will you let me speak to her?
Justice. There's no justice on this land. But you helped us, so maybe your words are not empty. You can speak to Naylor if she wants it. But I will be watching you.
Hello, Naylor? My name is Sherlock. I know someone hurt you. I am here to help. I'm trying to find the people involved and bring them to justice. Please. There is a photograph, and I'm sorry, it is terrible, but I simply must ask. Where did this happen? What can you tell me about these people? Christ, Sherlock. Naylor, I'm sorry. I'm not very good at this.
You come here for me, but you are rude and cruel and condescending. A cross. The man had this cross. Now go away. Leave us be. I do not need another white man's help.
Oh, glad that wasn't me.
Not my best work, John, by a long shot. Naylor doesn't want us meddling. I'm starting to wonder what this all achieves.
But she helped you anyway. Now we know that maniac's face and the cross he wore, we can still catch him.
Okay. Mind balance. And high rank officer. Have to look for this guy. We can pin it and search the archives. Okay. Can talk to them.
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
You still here?
I can show the picture.
Your problem, not mine. Your problem, not mine.
The intruder has a most peculiar tattoo on his neck, 2 lines and a point. Do you know anything about it?
You really want to know, kid? Why? You want to play a policeman or something?
I'm sure you have it in your records, so it won't hurt if I have it in mine.
In my records, it's just a tattoo, as it should be in yours. Ah, to hell with you. Suit yourself as to what you're going to do with it. Off the record, though, such tattoos are often connected to a man named Mr. Bernadotti.
Bernadotti, you say?
A respectable businessman in Scaladio. His company imports goods and wines, and smuggles everything that can be smuggled between the colonies and the mainland. His people can be identified by an obscure tattoo, just like the one over there our friend has. But these are all merely rumours, you see. If Mr. Bernadotti was a criminal, he'd be in prison now. Or hanged, right?
Okay, so we got... So you have information about finding this guy and about the intruder. So now we can go to the archives.
Is this... I just need to collect my thoughts, Sherry.
Okay, let's my archives. City archives. And we're back. Take your missus. Archive. Okay, so it's an higher ranking person. British. Oh. So then there's official. There's British. Occupation. So the person is Thomas Norton. Profile. Thomas Norton, born 1840 in London, graduated from the University of Oxford in 1864. In 1869 started working at the Home Office as a secretary. 1875 took a position as a military commissioner in India, honored by the Queen herself with the Order of the Bath in 1877. 1st March 1878 was appointed as the British envoy in Cordona with his own cabinet in City Hall. So the guy is close by.
I'll be right here.
It is City Hall and the envoy's room is there, as you see. Thomas Norton. So only during this case you were able to find them. So this is part of another trophy you can earn during this quest. It's called Short Temper, and basically you have to choose the options where you have to identify Thomas Norton as Partygoer, because then you get the option of hitting him in the face. But it's not right away because there are several steps toward this. I will show not all of them, but partially, since it doesn't really matter what you choose. In that sense, so let's talk to Mr. Norton.
If you're here on matters of signing up for military service, come back tomorrow. Our department needs to straighten out some business.
So the eyes, the beard, the medal, and his hands, and what more? His shoulder. So the envoy is a partygoer, or the envoy is in remorse. Okay, so to get the short temper, identify Norton as a partygoer. You have to choose the option punch him in the face. Yeah, let's just follow it. Doesn't really change much. It just gives you the option to punch him in the face before asking questions. So, I mean, the real answer is the other one, that he is in remorse, but for the medal, you choose partygoer, which is not.
Why are you staring at me like I'm a Madame Tussauds figure? Didn't you hear what I just said?
On my way here, I was wondering whether you might regret what you did. I tried my best to retain at least a shred of faith in humanity. I had hoped that you would hear her scream, see her face in your dreams, or at least once asked yourself how Naylor might feel.
Who?
Neither of my hopes were fulfilled.
Why are you here?
Okay, and because you choose to identify as partygoer, you can choose punch him in the face.
You defiled a girl who was with child. Don't even pretend that you regret what took place. Do you wonder why I came here? It is because I am disgusted with people like you, and the only way in my mind to rid the world of your ilk is to see you hanging from the gallows.
All right. Is it about money, as you said in the letter? I have it, all right? There's no need for violence.
I've never written a single word to you. As you can see, I have a more direct approach.
That letter, it wasn't from you. So what do you want?
Answers, to start with.
Fine. I suppose now we have a nice long talk. Do you drink, Mr.
Sherlock Holmes? And I do not.
Shame. All the best discussions are accompanied by a glass of whiskey. But out of respect for you, I won't drink either.
Respect? That's an unusual word in your mouth, Mr.
Where are my manners? My name is Thomas Norton, a British envoy in Cordona on a military mission. So, where do we start?
You mentioned blackmail. Tell me about it.
All right. A couple of days ago, I received an anonymous letter. It said that in the art gallery at Caravansary there exists a painting that incriminates me. The blackmailer made it clear that if there is a painting, then a photograph exists too, and I should be wary of what it might do to my reputation.
What does the blackmailer want from you?
Money, of course. What else do such people want? Needless to say, I don't remember anyone taking photographs at the party. Up until the last moment, I hoped he was bluffing. But he wasn't, as you've just proven to me.
Show me the letter.
I burnt it as soon as I read it. I've left enough evidence. There's no need for any more.
Of course.
So, let's return to the beginning. What happened at the party?
I vaguely remember that night. As usual at such parties, you meet people, you talk with them, they invite you to spend some time alone with them. What can I say? I got myself mixed up with the wrong company, and somebody must have mixed some psychoactive substance in my drink. After that, it's all blurry. I completely lost my sanity. I made a terrible mistake which I regret deeply.
You don't say. Do refugee girls often appear on the menu at those types of parties?
It's rather rare.
So you didn't attend the party to engage in an exotic experience involving a vulnerable woman unable to accuse you of assault?
I would never have planned such a terrible thing. What happened was just bad circumstance.
The painting that depicted you in the image of the devil was stolen by a mercenary. Did you have anything to do with it?
I might be a rotten person, sir, but hiring criminals for illicit purposes is not in my daily schedule.
And buying the painting in an attempt to hide the crime, is that on your daily schedule?
What would you do in my situation?
I would never put myself in such a situation.
You're young. I could never have imagined myself in my current position. Yet, here I am in front of you. We all make mistakes, Mr. Holmes. And I'm no exception.
Boniface Mercurio, does the name mean anything to you?
He's an artist, right?
The one responsible for the painting that compromises you. I found him dead in his room.
Oh, that is bad. Wait, you don't think that I have anything to do with this?
You had motive to kill him.
Maybe I did, but listen. I know how this looks, but murder? That's on another level. I had thoughts that this Mercutio...
Mercurio?
Well, him, yes. I thought he could have been the blackmailer. But I was too afraid to make any hasty decisions. There were plenty of ways to fail by making a move, so I chose to wait, to see what he would do next. You have to believe me.
I don't believe people, I believe evidence.
Then look at the evidence. Mr. Holmes, I've built my entire career on hard work and uncompromising dedication to the Crown. I made a mistake, but I'm not a villain from some cheap adventure fiction. By putting me behind bars, you will benefit precisely no one.
Rotting in prison is the least you deserve, but I have a better idea. You will make amends and help the ones you hurt. Use your connections to help patriate the refugees, find them decent homes, give them jobs. There must be a meaning to your position and my decision.
Yes, all right, I can do that. So, will you give me the photograph now?
That's not all. Naylor deserves the very utmost of what you can do.
Help the girl? I can't risk the press paying extra attention to her. I will do anything except that.
I need to think this all through. Don't do anything foolish in the meantime.
What makes you think you can decide what's best for these people?
Such is the arrogance of British imperialism. I take your point.
Come on, it's not like we've got anything better to do.
Okay, so you don't have to accuse anyone, but you have to find the office of the Bernadotti guy. Okay, so that's one of the endings, so you can literally end it here, but this is not on. So let's go find the Bernadotti office. Let's, what can we want? Because, oh, no. So let's find more about the killed criminal who died in the refugee camp. So yeah, let's go to the Police. Archives. Still need to talk with her, but that will probably either give a case or something else, so we're gonna ignore it. So we have to find a guy. The man didn't come here by chance. Okay, so let's see. Scaladio. I guess reasons and articles. No. Okay, not articles. No. Oh wait, I know why it doesn't work. Sorry. I traveled to the wrong archive. I meant to go to the police station and I went to Cordona Chronicles, which is the newspaper, so yeah, chose the wrong one. Now we're at the police station. Okay, those guys are also part of a side case which involves looking for a violin. Yeah, let's not do that now. Okay, back. Now we can choose the better ones. So he's located in Scalario. He is smuggling criminal patterns. Ah, here we got it. The one we're looking for, Niccolo Bernadotti, questioning. Niccolo Bernadotti, born in 1834, is a businessman and patron, well known in Cordona. The founder and owner of the Bernadotti Company Limited, as established 1873, main office southeastern Scalario. Bazaar Road near the crossing of Roman Road. Mr. Bernadotti was brought in for questioning on February 13, 1876, after tipping off from one of the anonymous sources. The source provided information that points to Mr. Bernadotti's connection to the smuggling of liquors, items and antique art between British colonials, Cordona and the rest of the United Kingdom. People allegedly working for Bernadotti were previously linked to a number of unlawful activities including robbery, violence, racketeering and blackmailing. Mr. Bernadotti was called in for questioning as witness since there is no tangible evidence available to serve any charges. During the questioning carried out by myself and Officer Booth, Mr. Bernadotti claimed to be unaware of the operations and facts provided as source. No information could be obtained on his activities before he moved to Britain, document or otherwise. As Mr. Bernadotti claims, up until 1873 he lived in Sicilia, Italy, where he had a vending business until he moved to London and began importing goods. Conclusion: it is not possible to incriminate Mr. Bernadotti with anything connected to the case. Inspector Herbert Ryder. Okay, so now we can look for Bernadotti's office. So let's head outside. We have to go to bazaar road and something to get here. Let's travel to Eastern Grand Surrey. There we will find okay, let's go to there. Where are we? Okay. Oh, could have gone that way. That side. Okay, so behind this wall is the office.
These workers don't look like your average cordona folk.
They're refugees from the camp.
So many goods here. Let's find something illegal.
Okay, so this is an important part. If you haven't received the short temper achievement, it's important that you now change into Sherlock's regular clothing. So Sherlock's suit, a jacket, or so it's default clothing, or Sherlock's suit where he is the same outfit only with or without a jacket. Then you have to talk to talk to the guard at the door. So this guy here.
That's our way in, Sherry. You go talk to that beef. I'll sneak up from behind and take him out.
Like you have to talk to this guy in the police uniform. Or in his regular clothes, I'm sure. Wait, I will change clothing again. Have to stay out of sight. So, for example, Sherlock suit. So you have to wear Sherlock's default clothing.
Hey yo, this is private property. You lost something.
Say I'm a private investigator.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm investigating a robbery, and Mr. Bernadotti may be just the man to help me with.
You're a copper.
I have nothing to do with the police.
Mr. Bernadotti isn't seeing anyone. You have 3 seconds to walk away, or you'll never walk again. Capito?
It's in Mr. Bernadotti's best interest to...
1.
Okay, and now you can choose the option hit him and do that. And this will unlock.
I did try to resolve this peacefully.
A short temper, and then you have to fight. Yeah, that was that. And if you have in the game settings that you can skip a fight, there are settings, difficulty, and then gameplay. You can have skip combat on off. Yeah, I will reload the game. No, wrong one. Not that one. I meant a manual save. Save file. It's the wrong one. Okay. Loads. Checkpoint. manual save. That one. Because if you wear the police outfit, which will not give you any advantages. Always standing there. Okay. When you wear the police office and go to the Bernadotti office, you can enter without fighting, but you will not get the trophy. So definitely wear Sherlock's default outfit to get the trophy. So first playthrough, wear standard clothing.
You go talk to that beef. I'll sneak up from behind and take him out.
Yeah, so for the trophy, wear his regular clothing, and if you want literally have no fighting, just talk to him in the police outfit.
May I help you, officer?
I must speak to Mr. Bernadotti. There's been trouble at the refugee camp. He will want to learn the details.
The camp, you say? Aye, sir. You can go in.
Sherry, that was almost too bright an idea to enter a bandit lair, not just disguised, but disguised as a copper.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
The Silverant treasure, mate. Loads of pirate gold buried somewhere around, just waiting to be found.
It's all right, there's no treasure.
But maybe there is. I just need to crack the bloody riddle.
Okay, that is
Sherry, look! This seems familiar. Is this?
Okay, so we can look around.
An amazing piece of culture. I imagine many collectors and museums would be interested in having it.
Great. Statues on the right.
Masks, traditional for the Chokwe people of Central Africa. A century old at least. A Dogon statue from West Africa. VH Grindley Flow Blue tableware. This is what lies behind the facade of Bernadotti Company Limited.
Smuggling artifacts. Now let's look behind the curtain.
Let's see what's hidden there.
And there we have the painting.
Vogel's stolen painting. Isn't it curious how it developed into a much more interesting case?
This marble fella, it's like he was made after my image.
Okay.
You see it?
Running late, officer. Your friends left not too long ago.
So this one, if you did with the fighting, this guy will run up and he sees you. We can. There's this one.
This is it. This is where all the magic happens.
The Bernadotti Company Limited trade network reaches the most distant colonies of the Great Empire.
It must be very convenient for a man like Bernadotti.
I suppose it's Mr. Bernadotti with our fine governor. I suppose it's Mr. Bernadotti with our fine governor. 1875. It was taken a few years back. John, how many people in Cordona have a photograph with the governor, do you think?
You definitely don't have one.
Excuse me, Mr. Bernadotti is busy right now.
Yeah, if you went through fighting these people, Sherlock would tell them to go outside. So basically, go away. Yeah, let's enter the office. No, a great white.
I don't know who you are, but someone will be punished for letting you in. But first, let's talk.
Explore the desk, the top shelf. Then we go talk to Mr. Bernadotti himself.
Whenever you're ready. I'd hate to intrude.
Okay, let's observe. Let's see. The neck, the tattoo, hands, arm, the pistol, other hand, a calculating mastermind or a ruthless crime lord. Okay. So ruthless crime lord. Or a calculating masterminds. Character portrait, Niccolo Bernadotti. So most of the time these character portraits just say so. Sherlock will speak to them.
Niccolo Bernadotti, I presume? The name is Sherlock Holmes, and I'm afraid I bring bad tidings.
Is that so?
The man you sent to the refugee camp failed in his task. He impaled himself on his own blade. Clumsy and chaotic end.
For a man who just broke onto my property, you are more businessman than brute. You have my attention, Mr. Holmes. Do not waste it.
I was hired, privately, to investigate the recent theft of a painting from an art gallery. My investigation led me to a man from your organization, and thus, to you, Mr. Bernadotti.
That is quite a stretch. Why would I need to steal a painting when I could buy anyone I wanted?
Interestingly enough, I spotted the stolen painting in your storeroom.
I buy and sell a lot of things, Mr. Holmes. Unfortunately, if this is true, it is not the first time I have been sold stolen merchandise. I presume you were hired by the owner of the gallery. Tell them to contact me, and we'll sort out the situation. So, this painting is why you broke into my office.
Yes.
As I said, your man was found dead in the refugee camp. He was there to kidnap a woman, but the other refugees intervened to try and save her. The ensuing scuffle resulted in the man's accidental suicide. He sported the same tattoo as your men in this building. In fact, it also bears a resemblance to the one on your neck. Care to explain what business your man had with this woman?
You have no idea what you are talking about. I can assure you this was no kidnapping. The refugees in the camp are on edge. What happened there is a tragic accident, one I am not responsible for.
For what reason was your man there if not to abduct her?
Why would I answer? You are yet to justify your presence in the slightest.
Mr. Bernadotti, do you know the name Boniface Mercurio?
I do not.
Mercurio was a local artist. Recently, a man broke into his apartment, ransacked the place, and killed him. The thief was looking for something.
You are testing my patience, boy.
In a moment, the connection will reveal itself.
So many words, so little action. When you barged into my office, Mr. Holmes, I got the impression you wanted to talk business. Now I see you had come just to talk. Tell me exactly what you want, or get out.
It was necessary groundwork for what comes next. I have enough evidence to conclude that the gallery thief, the artist's killer, and the dead man in the camp are all the same person.
Your time is almost up, Mr. Holmes.
Before you draw your gun, there is one final detail I am yet to mention. The young woman your man was tasked to collect from the refugee camp had been defiled at a perverse masquerade party. That violation was captured in a photograph by Boniface Mercurio and used as a reference for his painting. The photo shows the attacker's face.
Finally. That's why you're here, Mr. Holmes. You have the photograph.
It is what your man was after when he broke into Mercurio's apartment, and it is what you're after too, isn't it, Mr. Bernadotti?
You have the photograph with you. How much do you want for it?
I am not naive enough to carry it with me, but I am yet to decide what I shall do with it. I know the man in the photo is a British envoy. What interest do you have in his downfall?
I must admit, I am rather impressed by how comprehensively you have pursued this matter. And so, you deserve the honest answer. My business dealings are often arduous in their bureaucracy. A man in his position, willing to look the other way, could ease my work significantly. In return, I will make sure no one looks his way either. A favor for a favor.
Also known as blackmail, the modus operandi of any true professional.
It was not originally my idea. Mercurio set things in motion, extorting the envoy for the most trivial of ends. Money. In response, the envoy hired my man to retrieve the painting and the photograph, eliminating Mercurio's leverage. I only learned the whole story after the artist was killed in his home.
And rather than extricate yourself, instead you took over Mercurio's venture.
It fell into my lap. As a businessman, I simply seized the opportunity. Now, how much do you want for the image?
I could not help but appreciate the collection of smuggled artifacts in your storeroom. You have rather diversified your business.
Oh, high and mighty of you, Mr. Holmes. Not all smuggling is immoral. I pay generous rates to developing cultures and spread their culture to eager buyers. And furthermore, I supply many immigrants with a taste of home.
A very convenient way of thinking.
I have traveled wildly, Mr. Holmes. I've seen people in far-flung lands for whom my services are a lifeline. Without them, they would starve. The tax on cargo is often so absurd that it would be more profitable to simply sink your ship than dock it in the harbor. And trust me, I am speaking from experience.
Why did you send your man to remove the woman from the camp?
Without a photograph, her testimony was the next best thing. Securing her was in everyone's interest. Victims and witnesses all too often disappear. I thought the girl was safer with us. I did not anticipate what would happen at the camp.
I saw refugees from the camp at your warehouse. They work for you.
I have made certain arrangements with City Hall and the police. Thanks to me, refugees can work and be paid. It's a pathway to freedom.
And how much do you save by capitalizing on their cheap labor?
I have heard no complaints. They seem happy just to get out of that slum.
Why should I give you the photograph?
Just name your price.
What if my price were not money? You claim to have connections, Mr. Bernadotti. Perhaps you could improve conditions for the refugees. Give them a chance for a better life.
Ha! I do have connections, Mr. Holmes, but help the whole camp? You are asking too much. I could, however, make arrangements for one person. The woman who was violated will have her own home, outside the camp, solely for her and her child. She will no longer be a refugee, but a princess. That I can guarantee.
Is that really possible?
It will be neither fast nor easy, but I can do it. She deserves it, don't you agree? And as for her abuser, he will serve me, as much as he deserves.
So in your plan, everybody will be given their due. Especially you, Mr. Bernadotti.
Seems like a fair deal, no? I doubt anyone could offer you better. Simply give me the photograph, and the world becomes a better place. I give you my word.
Okay, so there are 3 endings. You give the picture to Bernadotti, or you give the picture to the envoy, or you give the picture to Vern Vogel. Yeah, let's save. I can show all of the endings. So we start with him. So afterwards, if you do not talk to Vern Vogel directly, you will be transported to him automatically to the art gallery. But let's talk to him first. Mr.Bernadotti, ending 1 of 3.
I am positive our deal will benefit everyone.
Oh wait, why can't we? What's the last one? Blackmail. Now we get all the ends. Save before I forget. Okay, now we can give him the photo and then I'll show you the two other ends.
If I give you the photograph, how do I know you will not come after me?
Mr. Holmes, you are not a threat. The local authorities owe me favors. For all your confidence, you cannot actually harm me. Besides, I like you and your approach to business. We are not dissimilar. Pragmatists to a fault.
Indeed, I cannot ignore the just outcomes in what you have proposed. All right, take the photograph.
You are a hard man to read, Mr. Holmes. I couldn't tell if you actually had it. Fear not. This decision will bear its fruits soon enough. One more thing, Mr. Holmes. Now that I have the photo, you may as well take Mr. Mercurio's painting back to the gallery. Please, send my apologies.
Okay, so now we're automatically back in Vern Vogel's office, so we can reload the save file, manual save, because Vern's stalking will be the same in everyone. Now we go with the option by giving it to Vern Vogel. To travel to the city. This will expose the truth via the newspaper, which also means nobody trusts the envoy, no matter if they do good or bad.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
So now we can give him the photo.
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr. Holmes. I won't shoot the messenger.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation.
He was not having a good day on account of his murder. Killed in his own flat by the same person that stole his painting.
Oh, sweet Mercurio. Perishing in the pursuit of his art. How apt. I will miss his exceptional sense of humor.
I located the thief, but found him rather cold. He was tight-lipped about the painting, too.
Huh, he's dead. How very droll, Mr. Holmes. One presumes you were not responsible.
It was an accident at the refugee camp. He impaled himself on his own knife.
Life is nothing if not cruel and capricious. What about the stolen painting? Have you located it?
I found the painting, but I could not retrieve it.
Well then, where is it?
In Bernadotti's office.
Bernadotti? That shady businessman? Why would he steal it from me?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask him yourself.
I take it you found something more then.
And now we can give him the picture.
I found the source of Mercurio's artistic inspiration. A photograph. What troubled me was that the sexual act captured was non-consensual.
She was violated? Dear God, how despicable.
Her abuser was in fact the British envoy. Mercurio took a picture of him committing the atrocity and then used it as artistic inspiration.
I had no idea a mere break-in would eventually expose such barbarity.
Mr. Vogel, I want you to make everything public, including the photograph. I'm sure you have a connection at the Cordona Chronicle.
Ah, Mr. Holmes, loyal to your own truth till the end. Yes, I'm acquainted with the staff of the Chronicle. The story is sensational, and will surely draw attention to the gallery. But you must be aware that exposing the scandal will further hurt the victim. Does that not bother you?
No matter what one does, the truth tends to come out, as well it should. I won't be the one to stand in its way.
Though it's only your subjective truth being exposed. Not that I'm judging. It's perfectly reasonable for everyone to have their own views.
When you called me, you knew exactly what you would get.
Oh, but I'm not like you, Mr. Holmes. I cannot be sure of anything. Regardless, I must thank you, for art's sake. Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
And what exactly have you sent me?
Frankly, I'm not sure how to answer that. I trust you'll know.
Previously, you mentioned there may have been more to my mother's passing than consumption. It appears you were right.
Oh, dear. I'd hoped to be wrong.
She was unstable, mentally unwell. She required sustained, specialized treatment, but her madness persisted.
I knew that Violet had disappeared from the public eye, but had no idea of her suffering. I cannot imagine what you're feeling.
I'm fine.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have procured.
And now this is finished. Now we can load the file, manual file. Then we can go to the British envoy, which is basically the best option because giving it the picture to Vern Vogel means that you will disgrace the envoy, so basically all kind of work they did will be seen as bad, no matter if it's good or negative. If we give it to the Bernadotti guy, you would just use it as blackmail and maybe order black future on the type. And giving it directly to the press, yeah, it's not helpful. And give it to the Bernadotti, Mr.Norton. You can tell him that you want him to help the refugee camp.
Have you thought it all through?
Almost. The refugees, what will happen to them?
Well, I wouldn't be standing here in this fancy office if I didn't know how to pull the right strings. In fact, it's the only thing I know. The local governor will receive a decree signed by the House of Lords containing a request to patriate the refugees in the name of the Crown.
From where did you gain such influence?
I never asked you how you found the photograph. So don't ask the magician how he performs his tricks.
But how can I believe you?
Ugh, I presume you do believe in my selfishness. The initiator of the refugee salvation will be none other than the British envoy, saviour and protector of those in need. It's a win situation for me, too. Now, what about the photograph?
You deserve to be punished, but the greater good is what matters here. I won't bargain it for justice for Nail.
I'm glad that this situation is over.
It will be over when you settle the matter of the refugees.
You have my word, Mr. Holmes.
Then you're automatically transported to Vern to give the conclusion.
Mr. Holmes, you've returned. Have you uncovered anything new about the theft?
Same in the previous ending.
I've brought news, but not all of it will please you.
Fill me in, Mr.
Okay.
I tracked down Boniface Mercurio.
I presume he wasn't delighted about the situation.
I located the thief, but found him rather cold.
What about the stolen painting? Have you located it?
I found the painting, but I could not retrieve it.
Well then, where is it?
In Bernadotti's office.
Bernadotti? That shady businessman? Why would he steal it from me?
I'm afraid you'll have to ask him yourself.
I take it you found something more then. What happened to your crusade of truth? Was it not that important, after all?
No truth will satisfy you, Mr. Vogel.
It was not an attack, Mr. Holmes. If you've chosen not to tell me, I respect your intention. But it is just rather boring, isn't it?
It is what it is.
Well, now that we've resolved all of our outstanding matters, I have a gift for you. I took the liberty of having it delivered to Stonewood Manor. I am told it belonged to your mother.
And what exactly have you sent me?
Frankly, I'm not sure how to answer.
Previously, you mentioned there may have been more to my mother's passing than consumption. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. I am curious to see what you have.
So this was a Muse from abroad. So the only part that was different where he immediately talks about that the painting is in Bernadotti's office, and that you have also automatic dialogue that speaks about what happened where the painting is, and that the picture is basically something non-important to mention. This is the ending of this video, mainly about Muse from abroad and Violet's exploring Violet's room, Sherlock's Mother. Thank you for watching, wish you all well, see you guys in the next video.